Hello YouTube, my name is David Fields and welcome to Field Skills. This is installment 2 in our basic survival series, and we asked the question today, what is a survival situation, or what is wilderness survival? And I define it this way: it's any situation that complicates our health and safety. Survival, it can be wilderness, can be urban, it can be at home. We could find ourselves in a survival situation. And the situation could be anything that a mechanical problem, physical problem, environmental, the weather, or it could be a social problem, the zombie apocalypse, or rioting, looting type situation. All of these, we would find ourselves in a survival situation. Now, this is mainly talking about wilderness and in the great outdoors, but you know, most of us find ourselves in the woods or on the river or the streams or the creeks or the lakes or outdoors on a regular basis. We're either hunting, we're fishing, we're camping, we're hiking, we're mountain biking. Whatever the case may be, we're in the outdoors, and we can find ourselves in a survival situation real easily. Now, many of us will try to tell ourselves, I'm not ever going to get in a survival situation. It's just not going to happen to me. I'm experienced. Won't get there. Don't be so sure. It can happen very quickly, very easily. Let's say we're on a deer hunt. Late in the evening, it's dark, we're in our tree stand. We wait till the last minute before we can't see anymore. We decide to get down, head back to camp. We climb down out of our tree stand, get on our four-wheeler to head back. It won't start. What do we find ourselves in? A survival situation. We're miles from camp. Do we hike out that night? Do we hunker down, spend the night, and walk out in the daylight? That is a survival situation. Maybe we're on that deer hunt and we shot a deer. We're bow hunting, shot a deer, didn't get a good, clean, quick kill shot. The deer runs off. We're tracking him through the woods. We come across a creek, stream. We step on a rock, maybe a log, to try to cross that stream following that deer blood trail. We slip, fall in. We're soaking wet. It's the middle of January. Doesn't even have to be below freezing. What do we find ourselves in? A survival situation. That deer hunt. We shot the deer. We get across the creek. But as we're keeping our eyes looking for the blood sign, we step into a stump hole. Tear our knee up. We can't walk anymore. What do we find ourselves in? A survival situation. Had that very scenario happened to a friend of mine. He ended up having knee surgery, all because he stepped into a stump hole, and tore his knee all to pieces. That deer hunt. We shot that deer, we track him. It's after dark. When we finally find the deer, we get him field dressed, ready to haul him out. We've hiked and tracked that deer for a mile or more. We get ready to come out of the woods with the deer, look around. We have no idea which way the four-wheeler is, which way camp is. We've gotten all turned around. It's dark, dark in the woods. What are we in? A survival situation. It can happen real quick, and even to the best of us. True story. A friend of mine retired from the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, which Mississippi is where I live, if I haven't told you that before, in South Mississippi. Anyway, this friend of mine had been hunting late in the evening out at his hunting camp not far from my home here. It was dark. his camp was on, they had a bunch of timber company land leased for hunting, and it connected with the national forest we have just a few miles from us here. So it's late at night. He gets on his four-wheel to head back to camp. On his trip, he had to cross a creek with a pretty significant bank that went down, back up a bank the trail went through. He'd been through on that dozens of times. This night, though, it was dark. He driving by his headlight on his four-wheeler. He came to that ramp down into the creek off the bank. He hit it not exactly lined up how he should have. Instead of hitting the bank coming up and going, he went off to the side a little bit. Front tire stuck straight down. He dropped off. Holding on to those handlebars, he fractured both arms. What did he find himself in? A survival situation. It was early the next morning before his friends finally realized at camp, hey, he should have been back by now. Let's go look for him. And he's trying to navigate himself out of these dark woods miles back to camp before they found him. But he was in a true survival situation with two broken arms. Story I read in the news. Gentleman by the name of Bill from Memphis. He goes up to the Meeman-Shelby National Forest just north of Memphis, Tennessee with a couple friends. They're squirrel hunting. It's in August 2011, and they fan out through the woods, start easing along squirrel hunting, and they just kept drifting apart till eventually they didn't know where each other was. Two of them stayed pretty well close together. The third, Bill, had wandered off, and 2 hours later he shoots in the air. Nobody can hear him. He's hollering. He's lost. He's totally turned around, doesn't know where he's at. He's never hunted in this forest before. That was on a Wednesday. Sunday afternoon, he finally got himself out of the woods where he crossed a road, and he ran across some guys that were out in the search and rescue looking for him, driving the roads. 4 nights, 5 days, he was in a true survival situation just in the southeast here. So we can find ourselves in a truly difficult survival situation real easily if we're not careful. So we need to think about that and be planning for that possibility every time we go to the woods, because it can and will happen to us if we're not careful. You know, just don't ever think it can't happen to you. It can and it will if you're in the woods long enough. So what are our core needs and priorities when we find ourselves lost, cold, wet, stranded, injured in the woods? Tune in to our next installment where we talk about these core needs, these core priorities we have in a survival situation. As I like to do, I want to end with a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Life is a journey, it's not a destination. So join me next time as we journey to self-reliance in the great outdoors. Thank you.